because a great communicator is the one that can read the other quickly to adapt the strategy of communication, right?
Exactly.
Because you don't want to communicate with yourself, you want to communicate with the other,
Exactly.
right? So you need to know the other, and I think you said something important. You need to understand other people. You need to first become a master of yourself.
Yeah.
You need to understand yourself. Of course, this is an eternal journey. You're constantly learning about yourself, but I think this is a very important key message. Deep dive into yourself, understand who you are, and little by little, the more you know who you are, naturally, you're gonna learn how to become a better communicator. 3, 2, 1, and we are back live with Coffee Break with Coachman, with me, Christian Coachman, founder of DSD, bringing some of the coolest minds in the dental industry to share their stories, share their initiatives, and share their journeys. And today I have a special friend with a very unique story in dentistry that I think you guys will find very, very interesting. I'm here with Dr. Mehy Lo Presti, practicing in London. He has a beautiful private practice in London. A very interesting background. We're going to talk a lot about that as well. A real global person that invented a movement, a community called Global Dental Collective. And that through this movement created an event that I believe is one of the coolest events in the dental industry. That will be the main topic here. Why he started this movement, why he started this community, and how his community is helping dentists in UK and nowadays even beyond UK. Mehy, thanks for coming. Thanks for joining me here in Madrid. We had a beautiful dinner 2 days ago
We did.
here in Madrid, and I was able to meet your beautiful wife, and it was amazing. And now I want to just jump in straight to what I think is the most important topic here for us. The event that you invented is called Dentorama. First of all, I love the name. Tell me, what is Dentorama?
Well, thanks for having me, Christian. It's an honor for me to be here and share what is Dentorama. Dentorama is, for people to understand, is just, I want you to imagine going to the theater, watching a great play, and once you're sitting down, you actually see that what is happening there is about your life. Not about only about your life, it's about your dentistry, what happens in your dental clinic. And at some point, the image freeze, and you can have an amazing panel of experts which are talking about each scenario
Mm-hmm.
that can be related to your
Mm-hmm.
life
Mm-hmm.
and give you the best advice possible for to solve these issues.
So basically, it's like creating a catalog of situations that the dentist goes through, challenging situations, translating this into act movements,
Yes.
and then creating a debate about that little play that you just saw. You
Yeah.
said it's a debate, what acting debate? You said it's a
Theatrical debate.
theatrical debate,
And all in a comedy.
and in a comedy that is
In a
the
comedy,
best way
English,
to
yeah, in a very English comedy, which is, very
very
dark,
specific,
very
yeah,
specific, very I love
funny.
it, very
Mhm.
funny, and at the same time very
Yeah,
impressive and
making fun of our problems. It's the best way to explore our problems.
exactly, exactly.
And how you came up with this idea?
We've been running a series of events where we talk about everything that they don't teach us in dental school, which is how to handle stress, how to look after yourself, how to communicate with your patients and your team, how to explore yourself, understand yourself as a one business person.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these are topics that we normally engage.
So basically, everything you need to know to become a better dentist, besides becoming a better clinician,
Exactly.
and beyond
And
becoming a better
beyond.
clinician. So
And
all the factors that are around the execution of good clinical dentistry, but everything that impacts that execution, right?
exactly. I think clinical skills is something that you're going to learn day by day, but these interpersonal skills are things that are very difficult to get unless you are a very good person with people. But if you don't have those natural talents, then it becomes a challenge.
Yeah. So this event was organized after you started this community called Global Dental Collective. So
Yeah.
we're going to talk a little bit more about this event because it happened for the first time last October. Things are probably still very fresh, and now you're planning for the next one
Yeah.
that I want to talk about as well. It's the continuation. But let's step back a little bit and go back into the creation of Global Dental Collective. So you're a clinician, having your practice in London with all your challenges, and suddenly you wake up and you decide that you're going to start a community.
Suddenly I decide I'm going to complicate my life.
Complicate your life. Probably not a very straightforward financial return of your investment.
Zero. Zero. It's the worst business idea ever. But, well, you know also that I've always been involved with companies, always been intrigued by how companies work and make the industry better. And we were always trying to figure out a way to do a better dentistry. Our original idea was to create the whole collective, the whole corporate, from the dentist to the clinical side. And then we created these events to promote this kind of dentistry, where looking after yourself, where looking after your mental being was the key. We created this very particular format. People loved it. There was like, we never felt so safe in an event where we can all share and learn from each other. So then we said, okay, there is something that we can do here for the community and for the dental industry.
We're talking about the initial events that you organized before the first Dentorama, right?
Yeah.
You had some, you started to promote this online. You started to talk to colleagues and friends, invite them.
It was mainly word of mouth thing. You know, we didn't even know if people would show up, and everyone showed up. Everyone was very happy. It was a huge success. Also, we are very good at doing parties.
That I know.
That you know. So that
helps.
That helps a lot, and probably that actually was the key. But the thing is that after that, we needed to. The problem we have is that we are very creative. We want to do things very different as any healthcare conference ever existed.
And you're saying we. Do you have a team with you in this project?
Well, my business partner, which is Bruno, which is also one of my best friends, which is Brazilian, and he runs a music label.
Oh, he's not a dentist.
He's not a dentist.
Oh,
he's
you
coming from
partner
the music industry.
You partner up with somebody from the music industry.
Who creates festivals, raves, and knows how to bring people together in a second.
They have the formula, yeah.
They have a formula, and then everyone that is in the team, from the marketing to the people that run the social media, are coming from different industries. The people work in fashion, people work in art, theater, music. So they bring all these different ingredients.
I have to tell you, I love marketing. Marketing communication became a thing for me, and that's what I do for a living nowadays as well. And I always loved everything I was receiving from your company, from your project, from Global Dental Collective, and from Dentorama. So the email marketing, the newsletters, the posts, the webpage, very cool, completely different communication from dental events.
Basically, something that we are learning. This, as you know, marketing is a trial error every day. You know, you might be doing something you think you're doing well, doesn't work, you change. What we're trying to do is also talk to the very young generation, the people that they just graduated, which they are perceiving things in a very completely different way than you and me. This is why all our marketing team, they are an average age of 21, 22, 23-year-old, which has good parts and bad parts. It's like almost like, hey guys, where is the work? It's like, oh, sorry, we just went to bed at 7 a.m. So actually we didn't have time to finish this. But they are so creative and so cool. Sometimes like, oh, you know, you would never think about the way they talk to the audience.
So what was the average age at the beginning of the dentists that were coming to your initial events?
Well, I think the average age was around between 25 to 30. And then it started expanding to students till also people in their 40s, 50s, 60s. So this is actually also a very unique environment where people learn from each other in the same event. Like you can see people in their end of their career giving advice to the young people, and the young people giving advice to the old generation.
Yes, 100%.
Because mentorship,
Yeah.
I don't think is about age, it's about experience.
Yeah.
But someone in their 20s, they have way more experience about
In a changing world like this, you
or
get
about
older,
social
you
media. Or
lose connection to many, many things, and you want to exchange.
exactly.
If you're smart and you want to stay young when you're 50, 55, 60, 65, or even beyond, that's the formula. You know,
Yeah.
participate on groups like this that will connect you to all different ages and keep you young.
Yeah, and learn from them.
Yeah.
This is the key. Sometimes we think that mentorship is about young people learning from
Older.
older or more experienced OGs. Now that you said you don't say they're older,
Yeah.
but it's the other way around. Too.
Now
And
you
this is a good
said you
bit.
said a word that I think is very important. You said that when you started to organize these smaller events at the beginning, people really enjoyed and they felt safe. That's a powerful word, right? And you say
Very
why
powerful.
dentists are unsafe, or and this is usually connecting us to the emotional side, the psychological side, right? How we all face problems, and many times because we don't feel safe to share, we get deeper, deeper, deeper into trouble, right?
Well, we are a very judgmental industry sometimes, and that's something that we miss this camaraderie
Mm-hmm.
in between professionals.
To competition
It's
and
competition,
envy.
envy, social media didn't help. So sometimes people, when they feel in a room where with another 150, 200, 300 people, they're actually very happy to share their emotions. This is very powerful.
Yeah.
This is something that we were not expected to happen.
So you were interacting a lot with the crowd.
Yeah.
A lot of interaction.
And then this is something that for us is mandatory in all the events. The panelists, they need to be in a lower level than the audience. So everything
So the amphitheater
exactly.
type of.
So even the ones that we did do in Hackney in East London in a warehouse, those events we build them in this way, and this is what helps all the audience. They look at their faces to each other, and they are the same level of the panelists. We don't want to have panelists in a very high stand where they couldn't really
Yeah.
interact.
No,
So
no.
that's the key.
How do you make an audience of 400 people interact with the moderator? So you were playing the moderator.
Yeah.
What was the dynamic? You had microphones all over, or because the first time you say, because I lecture everywhere, and many
Yeah.
times you say, look, let's interact, please ask questions, and so on. And many times nothing happens, right?
Yeah, that's
So
so
how do
true.
you make people talk about things, ask questions, and on the topics you mentioned are very intimate topics, right?
Yeah. I
How do you
think
break the ice?
I think the key, well, I mean, I have to say it's a little bit of an art. It's a bit difficult, and actually I ended up doing it by accident. We were trying to find someone to do what I do. I was like, this is all here. It's going to be very difficult to put in someone's
Yeah.
head. So I started doing myself, went well, and then I
You
got
grew it.
into exactly. So I think the setup helps a lot, that where everyone can see each other.
Mhm.
I think helps a lot the topics. The topics are also curated in a way that everyone feels part of it, and then also normally our dentists, they like to talk.
Mhm.
So once you have someone that has something to
Uh-huh.
say, everyone has something to say. And I have to say that the main complaint of our events is that they don't have enough time to
Time.
talk.
Yeah, because 400 people wanting to talk, then you have a problem now.
It is
Yeah.
always like that, and I'm flattered that people want to engage and want
Uh-huh.
to talk, and this is actually our main issue. So it's a great issue.
Mhm. Mhm.
How to make this happen? I think they just need to be they need to think that they have something to say,
Mhm. Mhm.
and this is I think is a bit of a mix of how we do things and how
Mhm.
we make them feel comfortable.
Mhm. And were you always into communication? Were you always good with communication? How did you realize you wanted to do this? Were you lecturing before? What kind of preparation did you go through
to do
to
this.
perform this?
Well, I've been always good with people somehow. I think that
Yep.
was easy with me. And the first time, when actually a month before the first event, we didn't have a moderator, so I jumped in.
So
And
until 1 month before the first event, you were still thinking that maybe somebody else could
yeah,
do this.
yeah. And well, we had people, but they were charging us a lot of money
Uh-huh.
to do this. And I was like, we had a very low budget. It's just like, you know what? It's going to be very difficult to actually put this there. And I'm like, I know everyone. I know the topics. I know how to make everyone interact. So it was a kind of super improvised. And but I received help. I worked with a coach, which is now is a good friend of ours, and worked with my wife a lot, which also she does a lot of public speaking.
Mhm.
So he gave us the little tricks of how to say it, when to say it.
Mhm.
English is not our first language,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
which was also
Yeah.
something that you have a little
I
bit of
know the feeling.
fear.
I know the feeling.
You know the feeling.
Yeah.
So and words that you think people are understanding,
Mm.
then someone tells you, I don't know what you just said.
Mhm.
So you have to play also with your body. You have to play with your
Mhm. Yeah.
position. So it's a little bit of a mix of having a bit of natural talent, but
Uh-huh. Mhm.
you need for sure the tricks and the and
Because
the
you mentioned something
details.
about learning your weaknesses,
Mm.
being aware of your weaknesses, and
Yeah,
then deciding what you're going to do with your weaknesses.
yeah.
What you meant with this.
I think, and this is can go. I mean, going back to the dentist and any healthcare professional, to understand how to treat every patient. The easiest way is to understand how are you as a communicator or
Mm.
which kind of person you are, and if you're introvert and extrovert, what's your energy, and then try to figure out how to deal with
Mm-hmm.
all the different categories of people
Mm-hmm.
that you're gonna find. Super
Yep.
aggressive people or maybe more shy people,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can
Yep.
basically work on this different
Strategies for
approaches.
each person, because a great communicator is the one that can read the other quickly to adapt the strategy of communication, right?
Exactly,
Because you don't want to communicate with yourself, you want to communicate with the other,
exactly.
right? So you need to know the other, and I think you said something important. You need to understand other people. You need to first become a master of yourself.
Yeah,
You need to understand yourself. Of course, this is an eternal journey. You're constantly learning about yourself, but I think this is a very important key message. Deep dive into yourself, understand who you are, and little by little, the more you know who you are, naturally you're gonna learn how to become a better communicator,
or not.
or realize I don't want to
Exactly,
communicate that much.
exactly. And this is something that I actually learned with VSD. There was something like when I did a course with you, and I was like, okay, this is great. Those are great tools, and I kind of feel like it's helping me to be a better communicator. But even more important, for people that actually they're not good at communicating and actually they don't feel comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
those tools that you give
Mm-hmm.
are even better, are the
Mm.
key. So this is why I'm saying, like, when you are not good at communicating, use the technology, use the
You can
materials
hundred
to
percent,
help you get to the
100%.
patient.
So you identify your blind spots, right?
Exactly.
And then you find the tools that can minimize those blind spots, or at least become completely aware that you have that blind spot. So you ask for help.
Exactly.
You're gonna look this area for me because I'm gonna focus on what I do the best.
Exactly. Exactly.
We say that communication is so important, but it's okay if you decide consciously, I don't want to invest on this, but I'm going to partner up with somebody that is amazing with it, and I'm going to take care of other things. So exploring what you do the best naturally,
Mm-hmm.
and creating relationships and partnerships with people that are covering the other areas.
Which is, I think, is even better and way more sustainable. You
Yeah.
actually, maybe you don't want to be the best communicator in your clinic. You might actually want to have a team
That
that
can
do
do it.
that.
Then you're multiplying yourself. You're less dependent. The business is less dependent on yourself. This is a classic problem for
Yeah.
dentists, right? They are the superstar, main communicator of every penny that comes in.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
and then you're the only one that can do that, and you're stuck.
Exactly. Exactly.
When you build a team that even the branding, the name of the practice, everything has an impact on the process of making the income be less dependent on yourself,
Yes.
because that brings a lot of pressure to dentists as well.
Exactly. And this is something that, I mean, my wife, she's a founder entrepreneur. You're a founder entrepreneur. So you know actually what's the key of a good CEO, which is bringing around you the best possible talent, so
100%.
you don't have to
And
do it.
delegating, empowering,
Delegate.
delegating, inspiring, and creating the condition for people to do it even better than you yourself, right?
I heard one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the UK saying that 80% of the CEO's job should be HR, should be hiring talent. If you're
100%.
spending less time than
Uh-huh.
that,
Uh-huh.
then
Uh-huh.
something's not
I
going to go.
agree 100%. I had a friend of mine saying, Christian, I don't know how you do so many things simultaneously, how you run so many projects. And my answer was that actually, it looks like I'm running many projects, but in fact, the key is to find a lot of great people that are better than you and great people that are doers.
Exactly.
If you surround yourself with doers, suddenly things are just happening,
Yeah.
and you are just like quarterbacking here and there, um, becoming the ambassador maybe of the story, or creating the initial connections, right?
You have the
Giving the
vision.
direction, and just allowing people around you to take ownership of the tasks. And I think that in a dental practice, dentists should think the same way.
100%. And not only in a practice owner level,
Mm-hmm.
which I think they're going to be less and less for how is the industry shifting,
Mm-hmm.
more into the associate level.
Yes.
Like this is me
Mm.
in my own room. How can I delegate as much as possible?
Uh-huh.
And I only do
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
skills, the one something that no one else can do apart from me.
The more you do that, the more you can do what you enjoy, do less of what you not enjoy.
And that
Uh,
means
mm.
referring, that means having a good team, that means using technology, which is
But that
going to take care
requires
of that.
leadership, and that's one topic that you cover
Yeah.
in your events as well. So you
Yeah.
mentioned the main. Can you repeat the main topics that you try always to touch?
So we main thing is everything that dental school doesn't teach us.
Everything that you don't learn in dental school.
Exactly. And that usually is communication skills. Normally is entrepreneurship or considering yourself as a one person business.
Mm-hmm.
Empathy,
Empathy,
looking after yourself,
stress management, physical,
exactly,
mental health.
which is key. At the end of the day, everything ends up on that
Mm-hmm.
place. And being a good manager,
Team building,
team
managing
building,
people, implementing systems,
exactly.
leadership.
Interpersonal skills, which is just as simple as give feedback and receive it.
Mm.
So
No.
important. How to talk to your nurse. So important. How to
Give
talk to your
feedback
technician.
and receive feedback.
So important. And so no one knows how to do this.
No.
How to actually make your nurse
Mm.
the most important person in the room.
Even make your nurse feel safe to give feedback. 'Cause
Exactly.
many times you don't get feedback and you think it's all cool. No, my team is great. Everybody's happy. And maybe it's because they don't even feel comfortable to share.
Maybe you as a dentist don't even feel comfortable to share.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like a lot of the times we see this problem of young dentists not being able to communicate to a very experienced nurse
Mm-hmm.
and feel
Pressure,
insecure.
yeah, insecure.
And that builds up. So the day of tomorrow, when you actually have a less experienced nurse, you're not able to communicate with her. So from day one, you
Mhm.
should be able to analyze and understand all these basic different relationships and personas that you're going to encounter in your life, and understand how to deal with them.
What is was your biggest lesson? Because you invite experts, non-dental experts, to your events to talk about these non-clinical topics. And when it comes to giving and receiving feedback, what was your main take-home message?
Well, in UK, we don't normally say what we feel and what we think, and it's very difficult actually to get to the point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that is in the culture. In Spain, for example, we're the opposite,
It's
right?
very
So
straightforward.
very straightforward. So I found a very strong clash in understanding how to deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
And what I learned the most is that you need to talk.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is sometimes, and that's what normally happens, we lack of communication. And that happens with your nurse,
Mm-hmm.
happens with your
Mm-hmm.
partner, happens with your friends. If you just don't say how you feel about something,
Mm-hmm.
which is as simple as like, hey, you've done a great job, but this doesn't make me feel
Mm-hmm.
secure about what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
What if we try
Mm-hmm.
do something else?
Mm-hmm. I think that yeah, once I heard, I don't remember where, that 2/3 of conflicts are usually happening because of lack of communication. Mainly saying that
I think are all.
maybe all of them, right?
I
That's
honestly
why
like.
would you, yeah? So it's basic, and we think we can communicate, and then the problem is when you think communication happened, and it didn't properly, right? That's why so many times when you get to a point where you finally say something and the other person is like, why didn't you tell me before? Or you didn't say like this 5 years ago, right? If I knew that, it would be different. And you get into those
Exactly.
situations and you realize, but we are stubborn. We are too stubborn or too proud or
No,
too,
and we take for granted a lot
yeah.
of things.
And we
Like
take communication for granted. Yeah.
sometimes a lot of something that I learned also very important. You can't expect the other person to do something that you never told them to do.
Yeah. Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, and that happens in dentistry a
Oh,
lot.
expectations.
When
We
you're
build
actually looking at your
You're,
practice
you're
manager, your
almost
nurse,
cheering for the person to fail so you can say, you see, I knew that was going to happen.
or when you're looking at them waiting for that
Yeah.
material, I just looking at their eyes,
Yeah.
and then she's like, "What do you want?" And then you're like, and just, "What do you want?" And then she grabs something, and they're like, this is not what I wanted. Well, you always wanted the same thing. Well, not today.
But and sometimes you do give instructions once, and maybe that's not enough, or that was not clear enough, or and I love to analyze miscommunication. Digital smile design, for me, basically, it's a communication strategy.
100%.
Of course, there's many implications and many tools and many this and that, and covers all the steps of treatment. But for me, my number one topic is, if there was a problem, what was the missing link on communication that made that problem happen?
Yeah.
And then not only addressing the problem, but finding a system that will minimize the chances of that happening. What are the steps that need to be implemented to generate communication at the right time, at the right moment, in the most efficient way, to minimize the chances of that problem happening. And as you start a company, you start to realize that is probably 90% of all the problems you have.
Exactly. And in your family too, no?
And family and
And
relationship.
friends. So it's always, I mean, for me, when I
Yeah.
got deeper and deeper into this, I was like, for example, we talked about litigation last year. Fear of litigation in UK is huge. Like
Mhm.
dentists live
Under-
and there's so much pressure because they tell them already that you're gonna get sued twice in your career. This is how people start practicing dentistry in UK. In the States, even higher. But
Yeah.
this is what they put in your brain,
Uh-huh.
right? Now, once we analyze those numbers, we understood that this is not true. Number one. Second, when actually you get in trouble, is because you've done a crime.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
a lot of the time it's not even for your dentistry.
Mhm.
And third, when patients are upset, and the main reason that they complain, it's not because you've done a wrong feeling. It's not because you've done a wrong preparation. It's not because they have sensitivity.
Mm.
It's because you didn't tell them.
Yeah, it's yeah.
You didn't manage expectations. You didn't tell them what can happen. You didn't communicate properly. And this is when they complain.
Transparency, yeah. The transparency. Because there's another side of the problem, that is the pressure to succeed, the pressure to attract patients, the pressure to convert. the pressure of social media means that you need to be the coolest on social media. You need to always be right. You need to always deliver amazing work.
Exactly.
Everything needs to look fine.
Exactly.
First and second appointment needs to be amazing. You want to talk only about the cool side of everything and the benefits of the treatment. And the best protection is to downplay all the benefits and to be very transparent about all the possibilities that can go wrong, right?
We are the only profession doing that, by the way. If I go to my cardiologist and he tells me like, look,
And you need
you
to
have a
yeah,
you have an 80%
Chance.
chances that you're not gonna
survive.
survive. And then you go to another cardiologist and that says like, it's gonna be perfect, no worries. Any side effects? Nothing. Which one are you gonna believe?
Of course.
You're gonna actually trust the one that's actually
Yeah.
told you it was realistic.
Mm-hmm.
In the industry, I don't know why, but we changed that perception and we believe, which I don't think is true,
Mm-hmm.
that the patient doesn't want to hear what can go wrong.
No. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when you tell them what can go wrong, and we actually almost push them to not do the treatment,
That's
is when you really get them.
and I had some episodes where we discussed trust, right? Generating trust and basically on marketing. This is going to be the biggest new asset in the world, trust. With where social media is going and now AI, content creation is not the differentiation anymore. Information is not the differentiation anymore. So trust is going to become the most valuable thing.
Yeah.
How can you become the most trusted voice in your area, in
Yeah.
your topic, in your neighborhood, in your city, and the biggest thing will be transparency, meaning becoming an amazing upfront communicator, meaning
Yeah.
if you want to join me in whatever in life, almost like in relationship as well, to your wife, your husband, and say, look, if we're going to do this together, let me tell you everything that can go wrong, everything that I can do wrong, everything that I can see on you doing wrong, all the things that you do that may generate a bad reaction in myself, meaning I want to be very clear up front.
Yeah.
What are the chances that by being so honest about it, you're going to be able to avoid them a little bit more, right? You're going to be able to predict. You're going to be able to say, okay, we are getting back into that behavior
Yeah.
that we talked about before, that we know it's not going to bring us anywhere. So immediately we start solving the problem, right?
Exactly.
And marketing needs to start doing that, and we'll start doing it. It's not about the good thing. It's about being transparent, being honest, because people are sick of the bullshit, right?
And it's going to be tricky. And this is what I think in-person events and in-person, I think we're going to go back to
100%.
personal because people won't believe what they see on the screen.
Yeah, 100%.
Right now, you can see like, it's crazy. You can see like by AI, like someone hearing something that is saying is completely fake.
Yeah, you can create a video and both of us talking about whatever.
Yeah, someone
and
maybe is
sharing the opposite opinion.
Exactly, someone is saying it
This is
completely, and it's not illegal.
No,
It's fine.
Yeah.
So I think people, we want to go and see you and listen to you, and this is where AI has a limit, I think. And people want to see the real person.
It's going to be very hard. But what I think, I agree 100%. And what I usually say is that it's very hard to put limits, and maybe there will be, we're going to all mature social media and AI into natural limits, or maybe organic limits, or maybe official limits, or maybe legal limits. I don't know. But it's usually, the limits are usually placed right way after the damage and whatever the consequences are there. So what I believe it's going to happen is that trust will become this amazing major asset and thing that people will look for, right? And this will reconnect us as humans.
Yes.
This will create the situations that you're mentioning where I get a message from you and I say, look, Mehy, I'm going to fly to London because we have something important to decide. I saw your messages, or I saw your content online. I know, I have a feeling of how you think about it, but there's nothing I can trust.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna knock at your door, say, I want to listen from you. Look into your eyes. Do you really believe in this? You
Yeah.
know, what do you really think? How can we overcome this? How can we find a solution? How can we work together, right? In relationships, in friendships, and in business. Suddenly, I already see people coming back and saying, "This is too important. We need to meet in person."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think this is beautiful. I love it.
We've done this weekend, no?
Yeah.
Like we were talking about doing this digital. I said, you
Yeah.
know what? Let's have dinner. Let's do
Much better.
this.
You know, we have dinner, we have some fun, and we record this in person. You know,
Yeah.
usually, as the listeners know, I'm here and the guest is in the other side of the world.
Which is also is amazing.
It's
a
cool.
gift.
We take advantage
Exactly.
of that.
Exactly.
But I totally agree that, and that, so in fact, you know, all this technology is not making us less human, but it's going to make us more human. We're going to reconnect. I think that,
And more valuable.
yeah.
The
you
human
know,
that you are is going to be
we're
actually
learning,
the
you know,
asset.
everybody's talking about how bad it is to be in front of a phone,
Hmm.
how bad it is for young people to be so much in front of the phone. Young people are not stupid. They're going to find the balance, you know. Maybe it's going to take a generation, half a generation or whatever. Fake news. We're going to get so sick of it that, you know, people will find a way to navigate all these things. And I don't know in
Hopefully.
how many years. Uh, I'm an optimistic person, and I know we are always evolving, we are always improving, and we are always better. So even though it's very hard to believe in a world that we live today and we see everything that is happening, and it's very natural for us to see the world is worse than ever, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much we see people killing people, people not caring about people. The world today is better than 100 years ago.
Probably.
I have to tell you,
Probably
because
yes. Probably yes.
we didn't even know what was happening, right?
It's true. I think we have more information.
Yeah.
I think we can take. This is tricky, but I want to think that we can take our own decisions and we are informed about what is happening.
More than before.
More than
Not
before,
ideal.
more than before.
Evolving. And we have to believe in that. We have to see
believe
the
in
light
that.
at the end
Yeah.
of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I'm actually very confident on the young generation.
Yeah.
I think like when I see my sisters that are younger in their 20s, I see like these young people that I work with that they really don't take anything for granted. They actually take every single bit of information and analyze
my
it.
generation did that favor for the younger generation.
Yeah.
We screwed up so much all over the world that the younger generation is like, whatever we still have, let's
Yeah.
not take it for granted.
Yeah.
Again, being an optimistic, I always, it's very easy for us to look back and say younger people are so dumb or younger people don't know what they're doing, you know, or
I
what's
don't
such a
think so.
disaster. I don't
I
agree with
think
that.
they are very, very clever.
I
And
don't
if they don't
agree.
do something, it's because they don't
No,
want to.
yeah, and it's gonna be with the next generation and the next and
Yeah.
the next. You know, they're just so different that many times, you know, when I see a guy my age, 50 years old, criticizing younger generation, it's just a lack of understanding.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's such a gap in terms of behavior and thinking that the natural way out is to criticize.
I
right?
think we've had these conversations with some friends in common,
Yes.
and I agree with you. I think people have completely different values.
Mhm.
They don't really want to do what the previous generation did, your
Mhm.
generation or my generation, which is working their ass off
Mhm.
all their life. They actually now think in a different way, and I
Mhm.
don't think that makes them less ambitious.
No,
I think that
it's a
actually
different ambition.
is a different ambition, where for them it's not all about
Mhm.
an X amount of money. It's all about having more freedom.
Finding happiness,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
That's success for me, finding happiness.
exactly. Having
So
time to do.
the amount of times that I see people criticizing others, but they're not happy themselves.
Uh,
And I'm like, there's something wrong on your
Yeah.
criticism here.
yeah,
The other thing that I think is important, talking about younger generation, we know how, and this became more accentuated with pandemic, this conflict between owners and employees, and usually the owner is older, and the young associates or employees are younger, and older people complaining that younger people don't want to work, or they don't have ambition, or they are not doing what we did, because when I was younger I was cleaning the floor, I was doing X, Y, Z, and these young generation, they don't want to know nothing about it, blah blah blah, they think they know everything. My answer is that I don't see great leaders having that type of issue,
Yeah.
right? Great leaders don't have problems with younger generation. They don't have problems attracting the right people, keeping the right people, taking the best out of the right people.
I think they adapted to them. Because at the end of
That's
the
leadership, right? You
that's
need to
that's their
adapt.
future.
You
Yeah.
need to adapt. You need to be humble. You need to be open. You need to listen. It's not easy, but that's the only way out. And so usually when you, I always say, I do this because I have problems as well, you know, and many times I'm looking at younger people and I'm like, and I'm like, you know, it's on me. It's what is my problem? What I need to change, you know, because if I'm leading this project and I want people to be engaged, I need to become an even better leader if I want the best out of them,
Yeah.
right?
And I think it's also there is a bit of a timing issue in where things have changed a lot. COVID has happened, and that basically probably made the
Yes.
shift faster.
Yes.
Probably 20 years in just two,
Yeah.
where everything became more
Mhm.
remote. Everything is a bit. People are more independent from physical spaces.
Mhm.
And I think there's also a problem from the young generation that they still need to try to figure out their place in those big companies, in the corporate world,
Yeah, of course.
in the dental industry as
Uh-huh.
dentists.
Yeah.
And that's something I told them, and this is why I think it's very important. Don't rely on the company. Don't rely on the clinic. Be your own self
Uh-huh.
and make yourself valuable
100%.
and work on those assets that you can give. And this is something I don't. When actually someone doesn't want to do one or the other, is someone is actually lazy. I mean, there's a lot of lazy people too.
No, that like in every generation,
Exactly.
you know, you have the people that want to do something.
Yeah, then you can complain. If
yeah.
there is someone actually, look, I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do this either, then it's like, okay, then probably you just don't want to do anything.
But I do think that COVID accelerated whatever was happening in all directions.
Yeah.
And one thing that happened on COVID is that everybody had that amazing period of time where we were all so uncertain about everything that we all, and it's amazing that the whole world, everybody went back to asking themselves what really matters.
Exactly.
Who didn't ask that question during COVID, right? And we were in a run. I think that before COVID, world went through like, I don't know, maybe 20 years of kind of not balance, but kind of stability.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Amazing. If we look back, amazing stability.
Yeah.
A little bit
Things were
less
always
conflicts
going
than
well.
usual.
Yeah.
And we were so in the comfort zone worldwide, at least the Western world, right? And suddenly, boom, COVID comes. We are all asking ourselves what really matters.
What have I been doing all these last years? Is it worth it?
Yes.
Is it actually, well, look at me now. I don't have
but
any
you
freedom.
know that there's a, and this is all good.
Yeah.
Because whatever needs to happen will happen faster. And then you have all the disasters post-COVID, and it just feels like the acceleration of the process. Because when you start asking yourself what really matters, the downside is that you have two people that are kind of living okay with each other, and then you have this moment, what really matters, and it's so different.
Yeah.
As soon as that moment ends, people come in extremes.
It's like a yo-yo effect.
Yes, yo-yo effect.
So as people like, you know, like once you get liberated from that, a lot of the people were thinking, you know what, I don't care. I'm going to do my own thing. Look what can happen again. So I'm actually going to be more selfish than ever.
That's the problem. But so it's good to realize what really matters for you. But then it looks like too many people lost connection with
Yeah.
the other side. I realized that we've been kind of living nearby, and it was okay. But I realized that I want this and you want that.
Yeah.
We are enemies, right? And then you lose the connection
Exactly.
to at least get some kind of conclusion, common sense. But it brings us to this dark moment that will wake us up.
Hopefully. I think so. I think it's things are changing.
Yeah.
Things are not taking as in the past in
No.
any aspect,
No.
talking from dentistry to global issues,
Mm.
from war. I think everyone is analyzing what is happening
Mhm.
in all the parts of the world,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this is good. People actually have a
talk about
voice.
it.
Exactly. Yeah.
We are talking about it, before we could hide all these things
Yeah.
and continue our great life. Because honestly speaking, with all this mess, my life hasn't changed that much.
Yeah.
If I'm on my selfish world,
You don't feel it.
but the world is just throwing at your face,
Yeah.
and we are having to make our own conclusions
Exactly.
and start to really wish that things get better.
Yeah, and that I just had a baby, you know that, no, and that's like 9 months ago, and actually, that way of actually, I don't care, I'm just gonna go with my backpack and with the people around. That
Yeah.
doesn't matter anymore. Now you have a legacy
Yes,
to
that's
look
the problem.
after, and this is
Yeah,
like,
when you're
oof.
having kids, the new generation, as soon as they start having kids, they're gonna change
Yeah.
as well and evolve.
Now I analyze people.
Yeah.
I have two categories
Yeah.
only: like
You have
with
kids?
kids,
You don't
without
have
kids.
How do you see the world? Okay. Do you have kids?
No,
Oh,
exactly,
so-
exactly.
no, I think this is amazing, and you already invited me last year to join. You invited me this year. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to join this year. I really want to come, and I think yes, you know how to throw a party. You know that we love that as well.
You know to have to throw a
yeah.
party too. Actually, like this year, in DSD London,
Yeah, it's 1 week
It's
before
1 week after the
after
drama.
your event.
So we'll see if we
Yeah.
do like a week
Mhm.
of ceremonies or
Yeah.
something. Yeah,
But let's go back to Dentorama. You were explaining me before we went live, the process. So we said Dentorama, it's a theatrical debate.
yeah,
And you got this inspiration from somebody outside dentistry that gave you the suggestion. You jumped in, you hired a theater director
Yeah.
to help you put the first event together.
yeah,
And you were telling a super cool story about how this person was structuring, inviting actors to pretend, to act like dentists and create these
Yeah.
sketches.
So exactly. Well, how it starts is we have a meeting with Nicole, which is our theater director. She's an amazing actress with a lot of experience, and we just pitched to her. It's like, look, this is what we want to do. And then she started giving us ideas and how we can do this and how can we represent this bit and we can bring this actor and then interact with the people. And we were like, wow. When actually like you think you're
You
clever.
start, you
You
think
think you're
you're
creative.
yeah.
And then someone actually, which is really creative,
Uh.
is like bombarding you with amazing
d-
things. So that we got very excited. And the process was me giving her a bunch of issues that actually an indemnity insurance gave us. Is look, those are the 10 topics that.
So you went to an insurance company
Yeah.
that gave you the top
Yeah.
10 issues
Yeah.
that dentists are facing.
Exactly.
And with her help, you translated this into little
No,
sketches.
even worse. I gave it to her straight away, raw. So she started analyzing this and she said, Mehy, we need to talk. I was like, why? It's like, I don't know, but are dentists all psychopaths? Because this is very bad. Why would you do this? Why you would try to fraud the insurance? Why would you make this wrong? Why would you not look
So
after a patient this way?
So real life things that the insurance company is telling you, it's the most common crazy things that
Yeah.
happen with
Yeah.
dentists.
And more relatable, most common things. Like exactly. So once and then I understood, oh gosh, okay, I need to put her in the psychology of the dentist. So I remember that was summer, so I was on the beach on the phone with her for 4 hours, trying to make her understand
A dentist.
why we feel in this way,
Yeah.
why we would do something in that other way. And then she started writing the script,
Mm-hmm.
understanding the psychology of, the financial pressure that someone would go in their first years,
Mm.
the financial pressure that someone would go in their last years,
Mm.
why they wouldn't say something to them, this, or actually why a patient would be upset even if we told them. So
Uh-huh.
all these things that,
Uh-huh.
outside dentistry was like, this is
That's
common
amazing.
sense. But actually, there is a
So
lot
then you
behind.
you wrote these sketches, you wrote these little
She
pieces.
wrote 3 acts.
Three acts.
3 acts, every act with different scenarios. Every scenario was interacting with one or the other. People that were acting in the beginning, they were coming at the end of the story.
Uh,
And in between, we have the
how
panel of
many
experts.
actors?
We had 6 actors.
6 actors
6 actors.
performing these 3 parts.
Yeah.
And then you said you would freeze, something would happen, you would freeze that moment,
Yeah.
and you would bring that discussion to the real experts
To
to
the
say, okay,
experts.
this is the problem.
Yeah.
Give us suggestions on
Yeah.
how to avoid it or overcome it or handle it.
We had a lawyer, we had the dental director of the indemnity insurance, and we had a dentist. And they were basically giving us advice about, okay, you shouldn't do that. If you do that, you're going to get in trouble. So do it in this way. So, and then people obviously were like agreeing or not agreeing, or, okay, that doesn't make sense.
The audience.
The audience. So it was like a bit of a
And
Roman.
then you would give the mic to the audience.
And then I had people it's 400 people. It's
Yes.
a big theater. So we had people with the mics,
What
talking. The most difficult part of all of this is stopping people.
Yes, I know exactly. Once you grab
So-
the mic,
Yeah, so just making the time for everyone to talk, that's challenging. But the most amazing thing is that, and this is I found out how we work. We are dentists. We plan for weeks in advance for the day of the day that we're gonna do the treatment, right? We make sure that everything is super predictable for the treatment. In theater is the opposite. In theater, like I arrived a week before, and I asked Nicole. I told her,
so you said that you said that the event was approaching,
yeah,
and you were like with the director, say, where are the actors?
yeah,
We need
yeah.
to
That was
rehearse
like we
this.
started 4 months in advance, writing everything, and then at some point it's like, by the way, who is performing all of this? Because I never met anyone. I mean, I guess we need to
Meet
pay
the
people,
actors.
meet the actors. I don't know, or you're in charge, but just out of curiosity. She was like, "Oh no, don't worry. This is like
Few days
I
before.
still have I have 2 people, but the other 3 they're in between jobs, so we're not sure." It's like, Nicole is next week. It's like, don't worry, we'll be fine.
And you were like, I'm in trouble. 400 people. I'm gonna ruin my reputation.
I was like, okay,
I'm
this is
gonna
not
be
gonna happen.
embarrassed.
I was not sleeping. I was like, I just had a baby. I was still like baby fog. I was like going through a lot of stuff. And like, okay, this is not gonna happen. But it's like, hey, what can we do? This is what we did. And the same week, the actors started rehearsing. They too, they knew everything. They knew how to improvise everything also. And obviously I was there because a lot of the staff, they were like, okay, this is not dentistry.
Yeah.
Like they were using stuff like in a different way. They were using tools in a completely different way. So, and it was amazing because also you analyze how we do things and how people perceive them.
The cool part is how the actors are perceiving what we do, and you're like, wow, this is how they see.
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. And they normally see us like as very aggressive and
Ambitious doctor,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. And then when the stories that we tell are in a comedy, but they have a context. The people understand why this happened.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually the good learning part.
So Dentorama 1, what was the main topic, the main tagline?
So it was the relationship between the dentist and the patient. There was more center on the issues in between.
And the trouble that we can get
Yeah.
into because
Yeah.
of that relationship
Yeah.
and so on. And then you said that the story ends. This 2 day event?
No, it's a one evening.
Oh, it's an evening.
Everything happens in an evening after work, Friday. So it's a social. People go to the theater.
But
It's in Mayfair.
How long is the event?
So the event starts at 6. The acts are 2 hours.
And
uh,
discussion.
and discussion. This is like a 2-hour show, and then is the social,
And
which
then
is
party.
like when it's like a network.
Yeah.
By the way, we found out that people want to talk before partying and
Yes.
network, and
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
yeah,
we
yeah.
we give like 2 hours of people to have dinner,
Drinks and
talk,
chatting and
and
interacting.
then whoever wants to continue, and everything happens in Mayfair, which is central London, super majestic venue, which is the Royal
Mhm.
Institution, and yeah, so
And so the story ends on
yeah,
last event, and the story continues now
yeah,
because you're gonna continue the story. Even the actors are coming back.
yeah.
The
So they
characters are coming back.
exactly the last Dr. Dentorama, how we call him, he basically loses his license because he gets in trouble, and then now
Because of
he's
insurance fraud.
insurance fraud, patient complaining he didn't write his notes. Basically, he did a little bit of mess, the poor guy. Lost his license for 6 months, and now he's back to the same clinic where people are, not very sure,
Skeptical.
skeptical. So this is going to be about the team.
So Dentorama 2 event that happens in
In October 18th,
October 18,
Friday,
Friday, 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Same deal, 2 hours of acting and discussions, two
Yeah.
hours of learning,
Yeah,
2 hours of networking,
yeah.
and then party.
And then party. The topic is, well, the title is the story behind the worst dental team ever
The worst-
existed. So it's gonna be like
So you're
understand.
going to highlight the most common mistakes
Yeah,
that a dentist as a leader.
yeah. In between the dentist with the nurse, we're gonna bring the character of the hygienist slash therapist, which is in UK.
Yeah.
Is very important,
Yes.
and we have a huge part of our
Yes.
community that are therapists. How the reception is very important in the team, and also the relationship between the associate with the principal,
Mm-hmm.
and how the manager is in between. So we're gonna like play the journey of the patient.
The main characters of a dental practice, right? The
Let's
main
see.
dentist, the associate, assistant, hygienist,
Yeah,
manager.
yeah. Receptions, yeah, the whole team.
That's in 3 acts again.
It's gonna be 2 acts this
2
time.
acts,
Yeah,
yeah.
2 acts, bit more extensive. Each act, because I think it was too much.
Uh-huh.
The breaks were not easy to bring
man-
people in and out.
Uh-huh.
So we're gonna make it a bit more simple. We have 3.
And who are the experts?
So we're still talking with them. So I still can't announce them, but someone is an expert on team management, one of the best in UK. One is one of my favorite dentists in UK, which is also my dentist, if he sees that, and he has an amazing team, which I collaborate all the time, and I've seen how he deals with his team. And
Uh-huh.
for me, as an example, we're gonna have one of the best therapists in the country,
Mm-hmm.
talking from their side. We are having also a super associate, which is that person
Mhm.
that is
The right arm.
exactly, but is independent from the clinic.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to also make you like, how can you be
The
that
best
value-
possible associate.
Yeah, and not depending on the clinic.
Mhm.
You know, so it's like this is you as a dentist, and how to create your team in your room.
So it's definitely an event for practice owners.
What we think is an event for the whole team.
Yeah.
Practice owners, they should bring the whole team,
whole-
and young dentists, they should convince the owner to bring
Got it.
their team, because I think it's a great activity to do all together and all learn, go Monday, and implement everything that they learn.
Next year, you could talk about one of my preferred relationship topics. That is the dentist technician. The historical, crazy relationship between.
This is actually
Dentists
something
and
that
technicians.
we had in mind a lot,
Yeah.
because it's key.
It's
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 so
amazing
important.
to make
Yeah,
a comedy out of it and to make acts about it.
noted.
Yeah.
Noted. This is we're good at listening and implementing.
That
so
is the summary of my whole life.
yeah. Okay. Great. then you need to come and
would-
yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Deal.
Okay.
This
no,
topic I come.
Great.
I love it.
Perfect.
Fantastic, man. I really hope audience was inspired by this project that I believe is unique. Happening in London, you have doctors, part of your community all over UK,
Yeah, and all over the world,
Europe
to be
now,
honest.
people joining.
Yeah,
And I really hope that more and more people will join
yeah.
the movement. Super cool. And yes, the parties are also amazing. So you combine the best of everything.
We have to have fun. You know, it's not all seriousness.
Always. That's a motto here at DSD.
Yeah.
And
I learn from you guys, by the way. You know, you always inspire me.
when I first saw you, it took me 5 minutes to say, this guy has that very clear. You need to enjoy life.
Yeah,
He's part of the team.
yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you,
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
thank you so much. It was a big pleasure.
My pleasure.
Thank you.